Okay, so this is how to play Outskirts of Paradise, take 1. What's up guys, welcome to the video. My name is Luke and today I'm going to show you my arrangement of the Outskirts of Paradise by Bad Sons. So the first thing you need to know going into this video is that I'm not going to do a linear tutorial. I'm not going to start you at the very beginning of the song and walk you through every single section. Because the song is very repetitive, I'm going to show you the 3 different parts that you will need to put the whole song together. If at the end of the video you want to know how do you actually put it all together and make it into a song, you can figure that out pretty easily once you've mastered the different parts by going and checking the link in the video description to my cover of this song, which is the inspiration for this video. The second thing I want to tell you guys is that this is in DADGAD tuning. I don't need to give you guys a tutorial on what that is. If you have no idea, look that up. That's DADGAD tuning. That's what we're going to be using. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so what I just played there is the introduction to the song, and you're going to use that part at the very beginning and then as the sort of pre-chorus section and the outro section. The only difference between when you use it at the beginning and when you use it as a pre-chorus and as an outro is that you're going to add a bass line into it when you use it later on in the song, and you won't use the harmonics. So let's actually start with the harmonics because that's the easiest part. So the harmonics that I'm playing at the very end of that are just here on the 5th fret, and I'm playing 2nd string and then 3rd string. And the way I like to do it is to take my pick and use a rest stroke and then mute it, so you get like that. So by using a rest stroke, you do not have to individually pick each string. You just start on the 2nd string, push until you run into the 3rd string, push until you run into the 4th string, and that gives you a really controlled and still very powerful harmonic sound. Alright, so let's get into the riff part. I'm starting on the 4th string and I'm picking it open, and then I'm hammering on to the 2nd fret and the 4th fret, and I'm doing it with my index finger and pinky finger. And then I'm playing the 3rd string open, and then I'm also playing the 4th fret on the 4th string again. So let me put that together. So I pick, hammer, hammer, then play open on the 3rd string, and then play the 4th string on the 4th fret again. So all together. And then you're going to play the 1st string open, and then the 4th string on the 4th fret, and then 1st string 2nd fret, and pull off to open. So that last part, 1st part, 2nd part. Okay, so all together. Again, slowly. And you'll notice there I actually hit the 1st string and 2nd string on that last upstroke before the pull off, and that's okay. We'll actually want to do that when we do it later on in the song. So, quickly. So when we use this as the introduction, we're going to end it with that harmonic. But when we use this part as the pre-chorus or as the outro, we're going to add a bass line. So the bass line that we're adding is open D, 6th string, because of course we're in DADGAD tuning, and then 2nd fret, which is an E, and then 5th string 2nd fret, which is a B, and then 6th string 5th fret, which is a G. So we get D, E, B, and G. And we place one of those bass notes underneath a repetition of that little lead part. We're going to do that 4 times, once for each of the chords. So we're going to do it by playing the bass note on the beat because our little lead part starts just after the beat. So it'll sound like this. Let me do that again. And then, of course, adding the different bass notes. Now if you're watching carefully, you'll notice that I'm using a different fingering depending upon which bass note I'm playing. So when I'm playing the open D, then I can just use 1 and 4 to roll up on that 4th string. But when I add in the E bass note and the B bass note, I'm playing the bass note with my index finger. So on both of those chords, I now have to play the roll of E to F sharp. I have to play the roll with my middle finger and pinky finger, as well as the pull off with my middle finger. So this is where I said it's not that complicated, but it's very difficult to play. So that is going to, of course, count for the E and the B. When you play G, you're going to be using your pinky finger to play the bass note, so you will perform the roll with your index finger and middle finger, as well as the pull off then with your first finger, like this. So, introduction. Pre-chorus and outro. So let's talk about the right hand. When you are playing the introduction, you got to be very precise in your picking. You don't want to hit extra strings, and so I like to keep my fingers sort of grounded on the top of the guitar so that I can be very precise without really needing to look at my hand or anything. It's sort of like the difference between trying to write with a pencil without resting your arm or hand, and then resting your hand and writing something. It's much more natural to keep your hand grounded. But then when you go into the pre-chorus section as well as the outro, it's a little bit more violent, and the tuning allows us to hit extra strings and notes. So we're not really going to be picking as much as strumming. So if you watch my right hand, you're going to notice that I'm picking the first part, and then I strum, which you can end with a down down or a down up, whatever you prefer. Down down is going to look like this. Down up is going to look like this. Kind of just depends on your preference. So that's how we play the introduction, the pre-chorus, and the outro. The second part is actually the easiest part, and this is the verse section. So the verse uses the same basic chord progression. We're going to play D, E minor, B minor, but it doesn't go down to G, the 4 chord. It just stays on B minor, except for the end of the second verse, it very briefly comes down to an A. So I'm playing the open 6th string and 5th string with harmonics on the 7th fret of the 4th string, 3rd string, and 2nd string. That's our first chord. Our second chord is going to be 6th string and 5th string on the 2nd fret, and then 4, 3, and 2 open. And then our final chord is going to be 6th string on the 7th fret, as well as then those same harmonics on the 5th fret. So the right hand is pretty simple. I'm just doing a simple 16th note, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, and I'm emphasizing 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And that's what gives that sort of characteristic. You just want to hold your pick kind of loosely and then grip it harder when you do those emphasized strokes, and that'll give you a really even sound. Now at the end of the second verse we have a funny little thing that happens when we're playing our B minor chord. We're going to end on the 7th fret of the 6th string, which is an A, and so it sounds like this. And that's the part where he says like just a little bit or something in the lyrics, if I'm remembering that correctly. If you listen to the song, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's the verse. It's pretty easy to master. You just got to be careful about getting your emphasis right and keeping the tempo up and not being too loud, because this is kind of a low dynamic section. So, you know, right hand pick control is really, really key here. So the last section we have is the chorus. Let's talk about the chord progression, and then we'll talk about the strumming. So the chords are going to be a G chord, which is going to be 5th fret on the 6th string and 5th string, and then 7th fret on the 4th string, and then letting the other strings ring open. And then we have an A chord, which is going to be 7th fret for the 6th string, 5th string, 4th string. So you can grab those with your last 3 fingers all on the same fret, and then first finger is going to play 3rd string on the 6th fret and allowing the 1st and 2nd string to ring. So that's our second chord, that's A. So G, and then A, and then E minor, which is going to be on the 2nd fret on 6th string and 5th string, and then you're going to start out on the 4th fret of the 4th string and then reach up to the 5th fret. So you get and the timing on it is going to be like this. Now, if you want to have a little fun with that E minor chord, at the end of the chorus, I like to run up an octave. So if I'm playing here on the 2nd and 4th fret, or 2nd and 5th fret, I can just move that up to 2 frets and 4 or 5 frets above the octave, which is my 12th fret. So if you noticed in my cover of this song, I was using my Bedell guitar that doesn't have the cutaway, but I grabbed this one with the cutaway to make this a little bit easier to demonstrate. So I'm just taking the same chord, I'm just jumping up an octave, so I'm 14th fret and then 16th fret, and I actually change up my fingering, so I'm just using my index finger to bar the 2 bass strings, and then my middle finger to catch the 4th string. Altogether, it would sound like this. So let's talk about that strumming pattern, and that'll be the last thing that we do. So what I'm playing there is slightly improvised. This is one of those secrets that you'll learn as a guitarist as you play a lot and you get used to the idea of keeping your hand moving. You don't necessarily have to think that hard about the strum pattern that you're playing because your hand is always in rhythm, going down on the beat, coming up off the beat, and you just kind of move in and out and hit the strings where you want to hear them and don't touch the strings where you want to have a longer note or a pause of some kind. So what I'm strumming here, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Alright, so that should get you started. Now again, if you were looking for somebody to walk you through the entire thing in linear fashion, like I said, that's not what I do. But if after going through this whole thing you're still feeling a little bit lost and having trouble putting everything together, I would encourage you to sign up for some virtual lessons with me. I offer great instruction at everybody's pace, whether you are an advanced player who just wants some specific help, or if you're an absolute beginner and you don't know where to turn for some quality instruction. I would encourage you to reach out to me. Thank you so much to all my supporters on Patreon, to my subscribers, to everyone who likes and comments and shares. You guys are the lifeblood of my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.